Welcome back to the channel, and hi if you are new. Today I'll be reviewing the JDS Labs Atom 2 stack that I have been using on my desktop for around a month now. The Atom 2 stack consists of the Atom DAC 2 and the Atom Amp 2. They can be bought separately for $129 each on the JDS Labs website. A disclaimer for this review. JDS Labs sent me the Atom 2 stack for the review, but all thoughts and opinions are my own and I am not compensated in any other way. I will be reviewing the Atom 2 combo as a whole, and I think most people will be purchasing both units together. And all the amps and DACs from JDS Labs are designed and manufactured in their facility in the US. That may or may not matter to you, but I think it's worth mentioning. The packaging of the Atom 2 stack is rather simple. The DAC and amp comes in a natural cardboard colored box, and the red boxes houses the power supplies for the units. Keep in mind that the amp uses a 16-volt power supply, and the DAC uses a 15-volt power supply, so don't mix them up. Opening the box, you'll see the product itself and a quick start guide. There's really not much else to it, minimalistic packaging. There will also be an USB A to C cable that comes with the DAC. Let's talk about the Atom 2 DAC first. The Atom 2 DAC uses a ES9018K2M DAC chip, paired with 3 OPA 6092 op amps per channel. It has a ring light on the front to indicate if the device is on or off, and a button to toggle from USB input to Toslink input. The Atom 2 DAC is the successor of the Atom DAC Plus, which JDS still sells for $109. The main difference between the two devices is that the Atom 2 features a metal enclosure, has a dedicated on-off switch, better efficiency, uses a Type-C port instead of a USB-B port, and I believe they have different op amps too. I think it's a no-brainer to go for the Atom 2 DAC with all those improvements. I'd pay the extra $20 just for the metal enclosure. Now onto the Atom 2 amp. On the front, it has a volume knob that also acts as an on-off switch for the amp. The knob is surrounded by a ring light. There's also buttons to toggle between high and low gain and RCA and mini jack inputs. On the back, there's a set of RCA ins, which in my case I'll use for the input for the Atom 2 DAC. There's also a set of RCA pre-outs and a mini jack input, which you can connect the line out signal of your audio player with. I'm going to connect the Atom 2 DAC to the amp using these short RCA cables I had lying around. JDS also sells similar cables for $15. The Atom 2 features a maximum power output of a whopping 2.65 watts per channel at 32 ohms, which has more than twice the power compared to its predecessor, the Atom Amp Plus. Compared to the Amp Plus, it has a 4.4mm balanced headphone jack in addition to the 1/4-inch jack for convenience. The output signal is single-ended, but the balanced jack is great to have. It also features a metal enclosure over the Amp Plus like the Atom 2 DAC. The Atom 2 amp costs $30 more than the older Atom Amp Plus, but for the extra power and all those extra features, I think it's worth it to go for the Atom 2 amp. Using the RCA output on the back, it will also act as a preamp to power your powered monitors. The 1/4-inch jack controls the audio signal to the pre-outs. When the 1/4-inch jack is plugged in, it mutes the pre-out signal from the RCAs. When you unplug it, it will output the audio signal to the RCAs and you can control the volume from the volume knob. So what if you want to mute the speakers when you are using the 4.4 headphone output? There isn't a switch inside the 4.4 port, so you may plug in a 1/4-inch adapter in the 1/4-inch port when using the 4.4 port. Just remember to switch back to low gain when using the pre-outs as it will affect the output of the pre-outs and you might risk damaging your speakers if you're in high gain. I tested the Atom 2 stack with my HD25s and T60RP headphones. For IEMs, I used the Vega 2020, iBasso 3T154, and ER2XR. First of all, throughout a month of use, there hasn't been any pops or hisses when pressing the buttons on the Atom combo. The amp is silent when you operate it, which is a good thing. After listening to the Atom 2 combo with the listed IEMs and headphones, the Atom 2 is able to reproduce a dynamic, neutral, and transparent sound with my headphones. The bass sounds quick and punchy. The mid-range sounds neutral. I feel like there isn't any perceived coloration to the mids. The highs sound expansive and there isn't any perceived roll-offs throughout the frequency range. The whole transient response feels fast throughout. It's also extremely detailed and has great resolution, but still being able to sound natural. The imaging on the Atom 2 stack is very good thanks to its clarity and resolution. The soundstage is wide and holographic, but it isn't overdone as it never felt artificial in my listening tests. The staging when listening to classical music is expansive and feels natural. Overall, I feel it is able to accurately represent the stereo imaging with tracks that showcases it. The Atom 2 combo sounds engaging on all the headphones and IEMs I tried. It is a very transparent and clean DAC amp combo, so whatever you plug in it, it will sound pretty much like your headphones. That is also the reason why it pairs well with a large range of different headphone tunings. Regarding volume control, I basically don't have to go past 10 o'clock on the volume knob on low gain with anything I use with it. I can get to normal listening volumes at around 8 o'clock on high gain with the T60RPs. I'm actually really curious on what headphones can utilize the 2.65 watts of power. I guess I will have to try that out in the future. Pairing it with sensitive IEMs, I never heard any background noise or hiss on the combo. However, due to its high power output and analog volume pot, I can hear some channel imbalance when the volume knob is behind the 730 position. I suggest you can lower the digital gain a bit on your device to have better control and balance of the volume when doing some low volume listening or when using sensitive IEMs. Or you can also consider the Element 2 Mark II, which should have a better channel balance down to very low volumes. The DX3 Pro Plus has been my most used desktop DAC for the past couple of months. It's a very compelling and small amp which has some extra features like Bluetooth for convenience. However, it doesn't have as much driving power as the Atom 2, and it cannot be used as a standalone headphone amp like the Atom 2 amp can. Comparing the Atom 2 combo to it, there honestly isn't much of a difference as both are very transparent and uncolored amps. To my ears, the Atom 2 has slightly more definition in the mid-bass. In comparison, the topping sounds slightly bloated in some tracks. The soundstage of the Atom 2 is also a touch wider than the topping. The DC Elite can be more different compared to the Atom 2 stack as it's a dongle DAC. Sound signature wise, they are actually not too different though. Both sets have a relatively neutral sound. To my ears, the DC Elite does have a slight better detail retrieval in certain tracks, especially when using IEMs. There's also a slight perceived warmth in the mids of the DC Elite when tested with the slow roll-off filter. But when using harder to drive headphones, the Atom 2 combo will have a larger advantage sonically over the DC Elite. Another factor on why you should consider a JDS Lab product is definitely their customer service. JDS Labs is known to the HeadFi community to stand by their products and their customer. Don't take my word for it, just do a quick search on Google or Reddit. You'll find tons of threads regarding that. And did I mention that you can get free laser engraving and personalization on top of your Atom 2 DAC and amp for free? JDS Labs have been providing free custom engravings on their products for more than 10 years now. Here are some examples from their blog posts. You can basically engrave any monochrome artwork on your Atom 2 stack. For $249, I think the Atom 2 stack is the perfect starter desktop set, but in some sense, it can also be an endgame set for some people. It does what a DAC amp combo should and does it well, which is to reproduce and amplify the signal with transparency. If that's what you're looking for, there isn't much to gain in pure performance even if you're willing to pay significantly more than the asking price of the Atom 2 combo. Even though the Atom 2 combo is a very competitive package, there are downsides to every product, as product design is always an exercise in making compromise. The compromise of having 2.65 watts of power is obviously the volume control with sensitive sets. If you can cope with the minor nuances and adjust the digital gain during those situations, I don't see a clear reason why you'd need another DAC amp in the future. So if you're looking for a set in the sub $300 range, I'd highly suggest you to consider the JDS Labs Atom 2 DAC and amp. I think it will serve you for a very long time throughout your Head-Fi journey.